as a pastor, I'm concerned to make sure that the things I talk about to people is something that God would want me to talk about. A lot of times pastors will try so hard to think of a theme or so hard to think of a topic to talk about to keep the spiritual appetite of the person whet in their congregation. And unfortunately, that's all it really does, is keeps the appetite wet, but doesn't give them a good enough substance to actually go out and do what God has called them to do. Hence the reason 98% of people in a church don't do anything. Statistically, only 2% of the people in a church will actually go out and evangelize and get people saved. And less than that will actually disciple people. So they look at the life of Jesus Christ and try to figure out what was his big theme. What was something that Jesus would do? What would he do if he was here now? Well, that's simple. You look at the Bible and recognize, first of all, he never had a congregation. So if he was in our day and age today, he probably would not have a congregation. Second, he didn't have a church building, so he probably wouldn't have a church building today. And his big theme, which is clearly seen in a book like Matthew chapter 4, is the kingdom. His big theme throughout the whole time was kingdom. Share the good news. And the disciples were the exact same way. Their biggest theme was kingdom, kingdom, kingdom. Sharing the good news. Now, of course, it's hard to constantly talk about the kingdom, 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 and share the good news of Jesus Christ when you're talking to the same people over and over and over and over again in their congregations. So I think most pastors would say, well, I can't keep talking about the kingdom, can't keep discussing the kingdom because my people are going to get bored of the same thing and leave. Well, once again, you probably have already kind of started off wrong, because you've got a congregation of people that are just listening to you and receiving from you, and you are their source of spiritual food. That's definitely not biblical. They have to learn to disciple, and we have to learn to disciple, so that people are not counting on us for their spiritual food, but they're counting on the Holy Spirit for spiritual food. There's no problem with talking to people and helping people out, but when they become dependent upon a person and the message on a Sunday morning, we have failed. But when the kingdom becomes their theme, as well as our theme, then they purposely go out to fulfill the kingdom. They purposely go out to fulfill the good news. And we, in exchange, do the same thing. Hence, you can keep talking about the kingdom and see miracles happen, and talk about the kingdom and see other topics develop from it. Not try to make topics just out of nothing just to appease the people or to create an appetite. Anyways, big lesson there from Matthew.